In today's Alien Agenda, as a 30-year military veteran, Colonel Gene explores the potential military response to extraterrestrial contact. Drawing from his extensive background, he analyzes the threat of alien technology, communication, and logistics, as well as historical encounters, including the Roswell incident. The podcast raises thought-provoking questions about defense strategies in the face of extraterrestrial life. Here's Colonel Gene.
This is Colonel Gene from Alien Agenda. We have been looking at various sightings and information about the possibility of foes and extraterrestrials visiting Earth. Now we're going to take a look at the question of just how would we deal with aliens or extraterrestrials from a military perspective if they made direct contact with Earthlings. Just as a reminder, my background, of course, has been with the military for 30 years. And I was privileged enough to be able to graduate from the Army War College. Things of this nature were discussed with the objective of providing advice to senior staff at the Pentagon with respect to various geopolitical issues. This is certainly an issue that would be of extreme importance and interest should we one day wind up with irrefutable and direct contact with other intelligent life. It is the purpose of our military to defend this country against any potential threat. Part of that process includes an analysis of any potential adversary. We will take a look at the possible danger posed by an alien life form should they choose to make their presence known. Military planning has developed over the years into a very sophisticated and comprehensive process. It is based on insight into the capabilities and probable actions of any adversary, and is one of the principal ways we plan for defending this country. Some of the most important areas that are looked at are things like weapons that our adversaries might possess, their capabilities, possible tactics they might use if we got into an adversarial situation. We also want to know their capability with respect to logistics and their communications and command and control ability. One of the most intriguing elements of military planning today is a thing called order of battle. This is to try and understand the nature of an opponent, especially their leadership. Since we have no knowledge of any alien contact, or at least have not acknowledged any, we do not have this information. Another essential element to win a military engagement on planet Earth is to have air superiority. From what we have observed of alien spacecraft and their capabilities, I do not see how our military would achieve air superiority if, in fact, we got into a hostile activity with the alien technology we have observed. At this point, we cannot say from what actual contact might take place. It is most problematic that if hostilities were to develop, we have a very hazardous situation. However, from my research, I have found nothing, with the exception of the incident in Vietnam in 1968, that showed any direct hostility or interaction between Earthlings and visitors from outer space. Even in the situation in Vietnam, it appears that the aliens simply returned the weapons that we were using against them. The closest they came to hostilities was the following day when the incident of the patrol boats, when all of a sudden 3 missiles fired the preceding day by the Air Force struck the Australian destroyer, the Hobart. The evidence from the reported UFO sightings is more like curiosity or concern of what we might be doing with nuclear weapons. The deactivation of 2 missile sites that were reported, and the supposed conversations with several aliens appeared to be more of concern about what we're doing with nuclear weapons. The encounters that Admiral Byrd had in the Antarctic also point to a concern about what we're doing with nuclear energy rather than hostilities. It may be that what they're really trying to do is ascertain whether or not they should make their presence known and have a direct dialogue with Earthlings. Using the techniques that the military employs to develop strategies and tactics to defend our country, we would look at how they apply to the situation in dealing with extraterrestrial life. If we were to begin with an assessment of the type and quantity of weapons that they possess, we truly have a very great void. Since they have not used any offensive tactics against us, the only experience that we have had with respect to their weaponry is their apparent ability to redirect weapons that were fired at them back toward us. If this is not an isolated incident, which we have no reason to believe that it is, conventional weaponry would appear to be very ineffective, if not hazardous, used against alien aircraft. This was the conclusion that the Department of Defense came to after analyzing the event in Vietnam in 1968. After that analysis, the directive was issued to the Air Force and the Navy pilots, ordering them not to engage UFOs. The apparent ability to redirect weapons back to the source is something that might affect some of our less conventional weapons that we are developing, specifically focused energy beam and laser weapons. One of the advantages of these two types of weapons is the speed at which they travel. They would most likely be able to engage enemy spacecraft, even with their ability to move at speeds we cannot imagine or match. However, the question is, would they have the ability to deflect or redirect even laser or energy beam weapons the way we saw them deflect more conventional weapons? It is possible that from some of the UFO crashes, our scientists have a better idea as to the effectiveness of some of the more exotic weapons that we are developing on any potential adversary. Certainly, this would be a critical determination with respect to the tactics we might use to defend ourselves against an alien attack. According to Colonel Corzo's book, The Day After Roswell, one of the major objectives of reverse engineering and providing alien technology from the crash to our defense contractors was to determine how we might defend ourselves against unearthly opponents. Another issue is the idea of supply and logistics. From the number of sightings we have observed and from the few cases where large numbers of aliens have appeared, such as the incident which is called the TikTok incident with the carrier force in 2004, it would appear they have the capability to provide whatever they would need. From the observations of smaller craft being supplied by entering into larger motherships, they may in fact have very sophisticated supply and logistics capabilities. As to their ability to communicate, the fact that they can move in tandem with one another at extreme rates of speed, which we have observed and documented on radar, indicates their communications capability and their command and control are both highly developed and extremely effective. With all this superiority, one question that comes to mind is, why do we not believe numerous spacecrafts have crashed on Earth? We can only conjecture that even though the alien technology is far ahead of what we possess, it is a device, and there are supposedly thinking beings aboard. Therefore is the potential for alien error, together with failure of the technology, even though it is superior to anything that we have developed. In 1947 at Roswell, there were a series of severe lightning storms that took place before the reported crash. It is conceivable that lightning or other natural forces could have contributed to the crash of even these sophisticated aircraft once they were in our atmosphere. Although we have not been able to ascertain as much as we would like about their vulnerability, we have examples of them being killed by something as simple as a 45 or an M1. We have the report from Roswell that a soldier shot and killed one of the aliens with his M1, and we have the incident at McGuire Air Force Base where one of the aliens was shot and killed with a 45 caliber handgun. This would surely indicate that the aliens themselves are prone to some danger, the same as humans, once they are out of their ships. We also have not observed any elaborate spacesuits or protective gear, only the strange fabric that they found at Roswell and that supposedly was used to help develop the bulletproof vests and Kevlar. We do not know, for example, if aliens might be impacted by viruses or bacteria on our Earth, similar to the storyline in War of the Worlds. We know that the United States has been conducting detailed studies of UFOs. They've established an agency within the Department of Defense, and there is certainly a great deal of concern given the number of recent sightings and the increased frequency of these reports. Some observers have reported several different types of spacecraft, triangular, cigar shape, and of course the more traditional flying saucer configurations. The question that this brings up is, does this mean that we are being potentially visited by more than one alien species? Certainly the classified briefing given to Ronald Reagan indicates that yes, there are multiple species of aliens visiting planet Earth. This, however, complicates our situation of how we would deal with these aliens should they become belligerent. Another issue is, where are they operating from? There has been speculation, of course, that they may be utilizing the side of the moon that is not visible from Earth. Although we have not acknowledged any structures that appear to have been constructed by intelligent life, it would make all the tactical sense in the world to locate a base where it cannot be observed directly from Earth. However, we have taken pictures of the side of the moon we can't see from Earth on some of our Apollo missions. It is very possible that if they are in fact using that side of the moon, that they have constructed their facilities underground. I suspect that one piece of information that will be critical to future moon landings will be a greater examination of that far side of the moon to see whether or not aliens have established a base of operations there. It is important that the Department of Defense has acknowledged that we have not only encountered foes, but that we have been investigating them as an ongoing phenomenon. The challenge this could present to the world in the future may be like none other we have experienced. You may recall that a speech that Ronald Reagan gave before the United Nations alluded to this question. He said maybe an attack from outside the planet Earth would be something that would unite us and not divide us, as we certainly appear to be today. I hope my military analysis has proved interesting and that it will provoke even more questions and thoughts for you to consider. For now, this is Colonel Gene signing off. Until the next time we meet on Alien Agenda, please tell your friends about my podcast. And if you would like to share any of your personal experiences that you had with UFOs or extraterrestrials, please contact Deborah Wallace at Deborah@pcm.agency. That's Deborah, Debra, at pcm.agency. Until next time, this is Colonel Gene signing off. Be safe.
Gene P. Abel is an inspiring powerhouse of innovation and storytelling. A distinguished retired Army colonel, he has helped shape great advancements in nuclear security, financial systems, and education. Today, he fuels his passion for creativity as a celebrated author of thrilling speculative fiction and thought-provoking historical tale. Dive into Gene's extraordinary literary universe on his website, where science fiction meets history in unforgettable adventures. Explore standout titles like What If Anything Is Out There?, The Inn of Destiny, and Our World Without Hitler. Visit GenePAbelBooks.com and be inspired. In Our World Without Hitler, Sam Wise and his friends journey through time to prevent Hitler's rise, reshaping history in unimaginable ways. From 1919 Germany to a drastically altered 2018, their thrilling adventures explore identity, sacrifice, and the ripple effects of rewriting the path. A gripping historical time travel masterpiece. Grab your copy from Amazon Books or visit GenePAbelBooks.com today.